Givaderm is a luxurious, toxin-free skincare that actually works. Not only do we take the toxins out, we put the most powerful nutrients in. All of our products are an effective way to detoxify, replenish, and protect your skin. Our toxin-free, natural ingredients provide real results without compromising your skin's health. Unlock the secret to beautiful, healthy skin using this synergistic skincare system. It's never too late or too early to begin living a more beautiful life with Givaderm. Natural, healthy skin.
So head on over to themelkshow.com, go to the partners page, click on Givaderm, use the code MELK, and get a great discount right now. In this time of financial uncertainty and geopolitical insanity, I have found a partner for myself and for you guys that makes a big difference when it comes to whatever's coming next. We have joined with Estate Planning, Inc., and we are showing you how to have a guaranteed income for life, a lasting legacy, and financial freedom on your terms. Protect what you've built and secure yourself for whatever comes next. If you go to the Mel K Show Partners page right now and click on Estate Planning, Inc., fill out the form, and you will get a response in the next 24 hours with clear and honest answers to your questions, no pressure, and simple next steps. You can find out about lifetime market-proof income, tax-smart legacy planning, values-aligned guidance, zero pressure, and total clarity from day one. So go to the Mel K Show Partners page and click on Estate Planning, Inc. and get started today. Nothing's more important to us than peace of mind and weathering the storm ahead. And Estate Planning, Inc. has the greatest options for you to protect your wealth and to secure yourself well into the future. So go to Estate Planning, Inc. or the melkshow.com partners page and get started today.
We're watching the greatest counter-revolution in some 90 years. We have not seen any president try to radically change the political calculus and the nature of government since FDR did it from the left during the New Deal of the mid-1930s. And what do I mean by that? Donald Trump closed the border. He's basically declared war on DEI, and he's winning that argument. Abroad, we see that Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the immediate future. The universities are rushing and competing with each other to cut a deal with Donald Trump. Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. What he's trying to do is tell the American people that the left exercises power even when they do not control government, any branch of government, and they exercise power even though on most of the issues, if not all of them, their constituency is only 40%. The majority of the American people oppose their agenda. We're going to see in the next year a frenzy, a frantic, almost out of mind reaction from the left, because they know that if this counter-revolution succeeds, it'll be very difficult for them to push down an unpopular agenda down the throat of the American people. So brace yourself. We're looking at the resistance coming up to the counter-revolution, and it's going to be fierce and unhinged.
Well, Victor David Hanson usually just calls it like it is, and we all have to admit the reality right now is that our country is seriously, the people of our country at least, are not even being considered in anything going on in Washington, D.C., having to do with security, safety, voting, anything else. So it's up to us. As I said, the only people that are going to save the United States of America are we the people, because what The chaos in D.C. is out of control, and frankly, the idea that right now Democrats voted completely in lockstep to keep Department of Homeland Security from being funded because of their temper tantrums about ICE is truly, at this time when we've seen 4 Islamic terror attacks and we have the situation in the Middle East, it's just telling the people of this country that they don't care. They don't care about, their job is to serve and protect the people of the United States of America and the homeland. And this group of socialist Democrats, or Democrat socialists, whatever you want to call them, they are not Democrats. They are revolutionary Marxists that are running that party right now. And frankly, the revolution is all that matters to them. So, we have a very heightened risk right now, apparently, of terrorism, of cells that were lit in over the 4 years of the auto pen. Nobody being held accountable for the entire auto pen administration, for the January 6th Fedsurrection, for the 2020 election, or anything else 8 months before the midterms. But what we do know is that the people in Washington, D.C. that are holding out on funding Homeland Security and ICE are, in fact, enemies of we the people. They do not care. They didn't care about the violence in the streets during their summer of love. They don't care about the uprisings that they've had, and they certainly don't care about any of us, and I would say their own constituents either. Keeping the Coast Guard, FEMA, Secret Service, TSA, all of these shut down is really unbelievable. And now apparently there's a bunch of airports that are saying that they will have to shut down because TSA agents have not been paid for a few weeks, and it's not the most glamorous job in the world. And people have been calling out sick in large numbers that work for the TSA rather than not getting paid. So again, and don't forget, by defunding ICE and getting in the way of ICE, there are hundreds of thousands of missing unaccompanied minors, probably sex trafficked, slavery, forced labor. God knows what else is going on with these missing children. They are not being found. It really is unbelievable at this point how much they just hate us. And it's not their money, it's our money. And we, the people of the United States, want our money to go towards protecting us and our family and our homeland and our from the incomprehensible 4 years of a wide open border where there were Iranian, operatives in the State Department, Mali and that Tatibi girl and all of this stuff. We know that. We're told that there's 18,000 at least terrorists in this country. And like I said, we've seen 4 Islamic terrorist attacks in the last month. So just remember, they don't want to fund to keep our country safe because they don't want illegals deported. It's unbelievable. How you doing this morning, kid?
I'm doing,
Mr. Roberto.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not, the human in me, looks at what's going on in the Middle East, and it's really, it seems to be escalating a little bit, and I'm not happy about that. But I am happy to be here with you and with all of you. So thank you for joining us wherever you are. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this. We are in the fog of war, and it is very difficult to sift through the information. There is continuing to be a lot of misinformation and censorship, so please help us get our word out there. And I just want to mention that precious metals has been under pressure the last few days.
Fishy is going on.
Yeah.
But pay close attention. Right now is a great time to buy. Of course, both are down this morning, gold and silver. Doesn't mean much. It really just means that chaos is ensuing all over the world. And never forget, Jerome Powell is basically in a battle with Donald Trump's administration, and he doesn't work for the United States of America. In fact, he is exercising his immunity that he has from an international organization, Immunity Act of the 1945 Act, that is, and he seems to be saying that he will not be involved in the investigation into the $2 billion they wanted to rebuild the private, not federal and not Federal Reserve, for them to have their Taj Mahal, I think this terrible, unconstitutional Federal Reserve system not only continue to destroy our country and put us in massive debt and manipulate the numbers, but also to keep us prisoners, because we are not a free country right now. We are actually captured, in my opinion, from the international banking architecture and banking cartel. And he is the face of that. And then, of course, Boasberg told him that he's immune. Now he says he might not leave because he doesn't have to. And that should tell everyone what they need to know about the Federal Reserve not being an American institution, in fact, being a global institution, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so if you have been considering or you thought you missed the boat a little bit on precious metals, then I would encourage you to go to our partners page or MEL Gold. Check out Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
Please.
Get your consultation. They are a big supporter of the show. And if you work with them, you're helping out the show and you're helping yourself by taking hopefully a little bit of the volatility of the markets and the geopolitical instability out of the equation.
I want to just say, we only deal in physical gold and silver, and it's a very different thing than the paper gold and silver and all of that. It's worth finding out about. Go to melkgold.com or the partners page. Just fill out the form. Also, Andrew is a personal friend of ours and has been for a very long time, and this is not one of those big companies. This is a very personalized relationship that you have with him. You're not going to be talking to just some random person. They are all in there. They have an actual physical location, and it is not a call center. So if you need to just get information, feel free to tell them what you're interested in, what you're thinking about, and what you're doing. And frankly, just what we talk about is buying gold and silver and hold. Gold and hold is the motto over here. Now, I'm going to move on because there's a lot to talk about this morning. I want to say yesterday's hearing, the way that the Democrats treat Tulsi Gabbard is so despicable and disgusting. And I have to say, more than anyone else in the administration, from what I am privy to, she is doing a lot of heavy lifting of unhooking the people and the country of the United States from a lot of black ops around the world. CIA, we all know about Gladio and all of that on this show. So what she is doing is very dangerous, trying to dismantle the deep state and the tentacles of the deep state around the world while fighting essentially a 40-year coup from the State Department and CIA against, you know, essentially we the people, since they've always worked since the Dulles brothers for the international banking cartel and the global public-private partnership. Frankly, I believe the international intelligence community, including CIA and MI6, have always worked for them. And their essential job is to keep that going and not let us do anything about it or even know that it's happening. So a lot coming out about the CIA. I believe it's through her. And Ratcliffe surfaced yesterday as well. So let's talk a little bit about that. She released the 2026 Unclassified National Threat Assessment. I think she did the best job that she could with a very hostile group coming at her, particularly Mark Warner. Mark Warner, if they were ever going to do anything about the global coup run by MI6 and CIA and the Obama administration, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, and the rest of them, Gina Haspel and all of her friends over there at the CIA headquarters and FBI in London, working with Dearlove and MI6, and Christopher Steele, of course, being paid by Hillary Clinton and Mark Elias and John Podesta to come up with the fake dossier that essentially stole Donald Trump's first 4 years of his presidency and hindered the ability for the United States of America to maybe go a different way than the World War III that's been planned since, I think, World War II, but definitely since George Soros and company started infiltrating and overthrowing and grabbing and capturing different countries after the fall of the USSR in order to go towards, I believe, Agenda 2030 and global governance, technocracy, totalitarian technocracy that I believe is the biggest danger right now. But according to the threat assessment, she was joined by CIA, DIA, FBI, and NSA there yesterday. The briefing basically provided threats facing the United States, the citizens, the homeland, and our interests. And as I said, the Democrats, no matter what they hear, they want to keep DHS and all of the different groups, including TSA, defunded, unfunded, and they're pushing with that, even though we're hearing that there's potential destabilizing situations, not just in the Middle East, obviously, but in Cuba, Haiti, Mexico. We have the situation going on with Venezuela, and you really have to believe in your heart that they must really hate us or something, because Why would you not want the homeland right now to be as safe as possible? And frankly, they don't, and they are holding it hostage. It's only 8 pages. I strongly recommend you give it a read. And again, remember that this isn't their money that they are holding back from funding DHS. This is our money. All of this money is our money. Now, also, this guy that I believe is part of the Georgia syndicate that have robbed multiple elections, including 2020 and after, was questioning Tulsi Gabbard. I'm going to play a couple of these just so you see how just incredibly vile and vitriolic these people are and how they treat her. Take a look.
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
And
This
he
is the
made that
worldwide. This is the
determination.
worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
That's not.
You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the
Here's
president
the problem.
based on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing.
Okay, now don't forget what's going on. Tulsi Gabbard is an outsider for the first time using the unconstitutional Patriot Act's creation and the DNI office properly. Her job is not that. And also, frankly, I believe that election that he won was fraudulent. But whatever the case may be, I hope that you realize he is an operative that essentially would like to go back to the steady state. And Mark Warner, I'm bringing up also, is one of those as well. But I have to tell you, Tulsi Gabbard, it is not her job to decide what the commander-in-chief wants to do when he gets her assessment. And he's saying not true or whatever. That's just BS. And again, remember, there was fake assessments put in there to lead Donald Trump astray, and Tulsi Gabbard and Ratcliffe caught it. And that has been happening over and over, as I've showed you. Steady State is a group of CIA operatives and spooks and former international ambassadors and a whole bunch of people that hate Donald Trump, that want to stay on the World War III Agenda 2030 path that they've been building towards for multiple decades. They believe that Trump and the people in America that voted for him are an existential threat to this country, and therefore, and going off and veering off and not wanting to support the war on the soil of Europe, the World War III that they need to refill their coffers, which is war for profit model they've been using since World War I, and to justify NATO's existence, which it no longer should have existed for a very long time. So again, they try to make it like it's her and she's doing something wrong. The truth of the matter is she's doing everything right if you actually read what the DNI was created for and what it's about. She is the only person able to put her hand into the 17 silos that are purposely siloed from each other and pull out all the information and look at it all big picture. Then she assesses it and gives the report to the president, and then it's his call. Now, Mark Warner, a real creep. If you don't know that Mark Warner was very, very involved in the coup to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States of America in 2016, it was an actual coup, an ongoing conspiracy, I believe, to this day. Mark Warner is one of the key players. He's also on the very should be investigated if we had a real country, but the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and the House Permanent Committee on Intelligence are both gatekeepers to protect the institutions of the intelligence community, not to protect us from them, not to have oversight, Nothing. And Mark Warner is one of those people that is deeply embedded in making sure that the American people are never aware of anything that our intelligence community is doing that violates the Constitution, that violates what even their positions entail. They protect the institutions, okay? Mark Warner is a main one. Take a listen to how he goes after Tulsi Gabbard about overseeing, as the director of national intelligence, what happened in Georgia. It's ridiculous. Take a listen.
Election security responsibilities to ensure the integrity of our elections. I want to correct one of your statements that you've made multiple times, which is false. I did not participate in a law enforcement activity, nor would I, because that does not exist within my authorities.
You were present on the scene. Are the photos of you on the scene false?
I was at Fulton County, sir, at the request of the president, and to work with the FBI to observe this action that had long been awaited. I was not aware of what was in the warrant or was not in the warrant.
And what was the president's specific request for you to go to? What was the specific request that was made by the president for you to show up in Fulton County?
To go and observe the FBI's activities on this issue.
So why?
When you look at the fort, your question, sir.
Do you have the answer why the president was knowing about this affidavit before it was even served?
I'm not aware that the president knew about an affidavit before it was served.
Then why was he sending you to Fulton County?
This occurred the day that the FBI had it approved, their warrant approved by a local judge, and they began to execute this. To address your question, sir, about the foreign nexus question, in order for us.
Okay, so they just kept going after it. So I want to remind you, of course, that Mark Warner hates Trump, hates MAGA, hates anything that's going to change the status quo. He is essentially an operative to cover up any criminality that has happened in the intelligence community, particularly his intelligence community, of which he was a part of. Warner seems to be panicking. He goes over and over asking her about the election. Fulton County, I have a great show coming up with the great Seth Keshel, who has a great book out about all of the election craziness. And Fulton County is probably the most corrupt. Of course, I believe Asif, the first guy that I showed you, is from there. In the meantime, I just want to remind everyone that Mark Warner was involved in the treasonous, I believe, seditious conspiracy to overthrow the duly elected president in 2016. Warner coordinated, if you do not know, with British intelligence op and total hack Christopher Steele, as well as George Soros and Dan Jones and others to basically perpetrate the entire Russia collusion hoax. I have on my screen right now, these are released text messages that used to be classified from Mark Warner, who is basically talking to the London office where Kohler, the FBI head in London, and Gina Haspel were running the Christopher Steele global conspiracy to overthrow Donald Trump in 2016 to 2020. Here he is over and over trying to insert himself into this. He's also talking about a private meeting in London and meeting with or wanting to meet with Christopher Steele. So Mark Warner is 100% implicated in Russiagate. But if they don't do anything about it, I don't know what's going to happen there. But I do need to show you another clip of him. And to me, he looks panicked. But please remember, he is an operative that has been involved in everything from the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton kicking off Russiagate to date. So maybe take a listen to this guy. Everyone should know who Mark Warner is. I think everyone should know these particular people like Norm Eisen or Mark Elias or Mark Warner, these people that have been involved since 2016 in essentially all of this criminality, conspiracy to defraud the American people, manipulation, a global coordinated coup against the sitting president, all of the lawfare. And frankly, they continue to protect themselves and the agencies and the institutions and continue to gaslight we the people. Take a listen.
Let me also join you, Mr. Chairman, and begin by thanking literally the tens of thousands of men and women across America's intelligence community who work every day to keep our country safe. Their work is by necessity secret. That is the nature of intelligence. But that is also why hearings like this one matter so much. Over the past year, we have seen a series of developments that raise serious concerns about the erosion of safeguards that protect both our democracy and our security.
Okay, so again, he is part of the steady state, the underground kind of hidden intelligence community that is totally, in my opinion, unconstitutional. And frankly, he is pushing for a lot of things that we, the people, should push back on. But what he's saying right there, again, they are justifying everything that they've done since 2016, since Donald Trump became the candidate, as being that Donald Trump is an existential threat to the United States of America and the world. And therefore, everything and anything him and Clapper and Comey and any of the other people, Hillary Clinton, whatever, Obama, have done is justified because of special circumstances of Donald Trump being an existential threat to democracy. Again, we're a constitutional republic, and obviously Trump is not an existential threat, but that is what they're using over and over. And he goes on to reiterate that again and again. In the meantime, I do want to remind you that when he was involved in the plot against President Trump with the CIA and British intelligence, according to Svetlana Lakova, Warner didn't want to leave a paper trail and was conspiring to do this, the plot against President Trump, privately in London, as I told you. So he has a lot to hide and a lot to answer for. If that ever comes to fruition, I believe he will be part of that entire conspiracy that will be proven, God willing, with what is going on down at the grand juries in Florida connected to the unconstitutional and illegal raid of Mar-a-Lago. In the meantime, we do want to remind you that Alan Kohler, FBI Assistant Director for Counterintelligence, organized the Mar-a-Lago raid at President Trump's home, ran the President Trump's classified documents hoax, total fraudulent hoax. Donald Trump had declassified a lot of documents. The day that Otto Penn Joe Biden went into presidency, somebody reclassified documents that Trump already declassified to create the illusion that he was taking classified documents. That's how gross Jack Smith and his team was. And they're still out there, and they're still wreaking havoc, and they're still begging to put out their fake assessment. But that is the truth. And in conjunction, Mark Warner was working with all of them, including, of course, Lisa Monaco, who has been an operative all this time, a Obama right hand, of course. And then, again, Arctic Frost was totally illegal, unconstitutional, and a violation of hundreds of thousands of American citizens' rights to privacy and the Fourth Amendment. And yet it went... and that is to tell you that the Intelligence Oversight Committee isn't about oversight of intelligence. It's about protecting the intelligence community when they break the law. Again, I don't understand the holdup, but Monaco, Wray, and Garland signed off on Arctic Frost, which is completely and totally unconstitutional, and they all should be held accountable. But we are waiting for that day. Meanwhile, after Tulsi spoke, one of the biggest criminals that belongs in, I believe, in prison for the rest of his life, met up with the, I don't know what she is, Nicole Wallace has always been some kind of operative. Never forget, she was George W. Bush's basically right-hand press secretary and everything during the fraud of the Iraq War, that there were weapons of mass destruction. She also defended George W. Bush and rendition. She has been in the game a very long time. She knows exactly what she's doing. And do not forget, Nicole Wallace's husband is the New York Times writer that James Comey and Richmond leaked to. So again, this is kind of a show, the whole MS Now, MSNBC, it is an intelligence operation, okay? You don't hire the head of the FBI, the head of the CIA, all that as consultants or as contributors to an actual network. No, this is, it goes back to Project Mockingbird, and there's literally, now that Rachel Maddow isn't really out there, no one that should be more criticized or looked at more closely than Nicole Wallace. Take a listen.
Tulsi Gabbard couldn't say because of what Donald Trump has said, and Mark Warner was simply calling her out on her own discrepancy between her own prepared remarks and her own statement, which she tried to chalk up to, quote, I edited that part for length. Seems like it got to the heart of the matter, no?
Yes, it was a very sad and troubling demonstration of the politicization of the intelligence community. What I really welcomed was the fact that in her prepared remarks, which were prepared by intelligence professionals, they stayed true to the facts and they provided the best analysis. But Tulsi Gabbard and others, the civilians, were doing their best to try to avoid saying anything that was going to antagonize the White House and Donald Trump.
Hey, Tulsi Gabbard couldn't
so
say.
let's be very clear. I don't know why he's on TV. I don't know why he's talking, but there's nobody more guilty of, in my opinion, the coup against the duly elected sitting president than Brennan. Also, don't forget, Brennan was for 12 years the station chief of the CIA in Saudi Arabia under al-Waleed, the former, I believe he was, I don't know where he is now, but remember, he was Obama's right hand and good friend and, John Kerry and everyone. So there are a lot of questions about Brennan's time in Saudi Arabia running the CIA office there, particularly because it coincided with 9/11, and it clearly was John Brennan that was allowing people into this country that shouldn't have been. But in the meantime, I don't understand how his lawyers are letting him be out there talking about this, but they are. So they're very confident. I also learned yesterday that James Comey has hired 25 lawyers. 25 people are working for James Comey right now. We haven't even seen a full, real indictment of his actual crimes yet. So that is amazing. And a lot of these are coming from those D.C. firms that have been down and dirty in D.C. for decades. And those law firms all were put on notice when Trump came into office, as was all the lawfare people. But as of this day right now, none of that has been provided fruit. All it's done is continued to allow them to stop the administration from moving forward and putting through the things that we, the people, voted for through lawfare. Now we have also John Ratcliffe came out yesterday. Of course, he's running the CIA, which I believe should have been shut down and every CIA operative pulled from the field all over the world and assess what the CIA has been doing since the 40s. But in the meantime, he spoke a little. Let's listen to John Ratcliffe, since he hasn't been around in a while in the public.
On April 19th, FISA goes dark. 702 goes dark. And it's been talked about many times, but up to 60% of the president's daily briefing is derived from FISA 702. And we look at the successes that we've had in protecting the homeland and also the conflicts the U.S. has been involved with. The flawless operation in Venezuela, Operation Fury in Iran, troop protection, the successes we've had on the battlefield in Ukraine, the recovery and release of the Hamas hostages in the tunnels in Israel, all derived from FISA 702. There is not a military operation that we've been involved with where FISA 702 was not, as Director Ratcliffe has said, been indispensable to the United States in the protection of our country. Director Patel has also said FISA 702 is indispensable. We're 30 days away from it going dark. Director Ratcliffe, can you clarify the President's position on an 18-month clean reauthorization and how that's going to proceed moving forward?
Congressman, thank you, and thank you for highlighting this issue. So the President is in favor of an 18-month clean reauthorization of FISA 702. And I would add to that, I'm heartened by the fact to hear that the chairman of this committee and the ranking member are in agreement with that. And I know there's bipartisan support for that, and there should be. And I know this is an important vote for you to take, but I would ask that you all consider when you do that, when you look at the fact that former DNIs and former CIA directors and former FBI directors and DIA directors and NSA directors across Republican and Democrat administrations are in support of FISA 702 in its current form. These are the people that are making the decisions to keep Americans safe. And so...
Okay, so at the same time they're doing that, they're keeping DHS shut down, so that makes no sense. What I need to tell you is warrantless surveillance 702 is American citizen. That's the number that means American citizen. And they are saying that it's been indispensable. What I can tell you is that it violates the Fourth Amendment, and it is not being used and has not been used ever since 9/11 in a way that goes along the lines of respecting the Constitution, just like the Patriot Act. So we, the people, have to start paying attention. They are building a panopticon. What is that? That is a full track and trace surveillance system. Everything that they're building, whether it's Oracle and what's his name, Larry Ellison, at the White House saying that, he's going to build this Stargate and whatever, and Palantir is already embedded, not just in our military, but in our 911 system and everything else. They're pushing biometrics. They're pushing surveillance by streetlights, surveillance from cars, surveillance everywhere. So at this point, the United States of America, particularly since the Project for New American Century, full spectrum, full intelligence dominance, full spectrum dominance, all of that, we have been a police state. Okay, and I have not seen evidence, quite frankly, that we should be trusting the people in the government. If you don't know, the FISA 702 warrantless surveillance was used on millions of people, and we should reassess if the people of the United States still have a Fourth Amendment right. I want to remind you that back in 2023, Michael Horowitz, the former Inspector General of that division. He's now, I believe, the Inspector General of the Fed, which is weird. But Michael Horowitz testified on April 27th, 2023, that more than 3.4 million American citizens, that there were search queries into the NSA database that took place between December 1st, 2020 and November 30th, 2021. Okay? 3.4 million people were surveilled without a warrant by the Biden administration during that time. And nobody has been held accountable for it. Nobody has explained it. And to me, that's a violation of the Constitution and of their oath to uphold the Constitution. That was by not just government officials, but also contractors working on behalf of the government, like Booz Allen Hamilton and these other groups. And frankly, it looks like 10,000 agents violated the rules of FISA while using it to query American citizens. We know what happened with Holder and Obama and Spygate, not just with the IRS, but the NSA database. We are all very aware of what Edward Snowden put out. Well, that was a long time ago. Imagine where they are now. Horowitz also said that 30% of those 3.4 million search queries were outside any rules or regulations that govern warrantless surveillance, okay? They also spied on all of the senators and congresspeople that supported Donald Trump under the FISA 702 in the Jack Smith case, okay? And we found out with that, Arctic Frost, warrantless surveillance, no protocol followed in those cases either. And we're finding out more and more people were spied on, just regular American citizens that were involved in groups around the country, be it patriot groups or Republican groups or whatever the case may be. This has been going on wild. And again, we know that somehow Perkins Coie had access to the database in their own law offices in Washington, D.C. Of course, that's the law offices of Hillary Clinton and the DNC. So we've got no answers about that. We still haven't seen the Judge Collier's report. I believe it's out there, but it still has redactions. We've never seen the redactions of exactly why we had a fake whistleblower that was a CIA agent that was protected while American citizens were violated. And again, these are non-compliant searches for 30% of those 3.4 million, and it could have been by anyone. That means that over 1 million searches of private American citizens' documents and communications were illegal. And yet they want to perpetuate this forward. What you might not know is that they gave themselves now the ability to block using warrantless surveillance on any congressperson, yet we know that Jack Smith continued to do that anyway. So, I mean, what is this about? They're saying 10,000 federal employees have access to this database and basically can search on anyone. The database can change the electronic data of every single American citizen. Every email, text message, social media post, instant messages, direct messages, phone calls, geolocation identifiers, purchases by electric funds, banking records, and any keystroke any American citizen puts into an electronic device for any reason. That is what they want access to without a warrant And that's every American. And imagine if the Democrat Socialists of America and their partners in the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE take back the country's power. Who do you think that's going to be used against? And what is going to happen? Again, in 2018, it was revealed that conservative Treehouse revealed it, that the FBI, DOJ, FBI contractors had done more than 1,000 illegal searches using the NSA database targeting Republican primary candidates. Republican primary candidates were also spied on using warrantless surveillance 702 improperly or illegally between November 2015 and May 2016. I mean, who are we trusting in the government at this point to spy on us? And don't forget, the Fedsurrection of January 6th, they use that. And now we also know that Palantir is embedded with 911 all over this country. And the capabilities of Palantir are also used all over the world. Nobody's even stopped the sharing of Five Eyes Nation intelligence while we're not even on the same page as the EU. Canada is now obviously caught in the crossfire, finding out that they have been taking an IRGC and other terrorist organization members into Canada for years now. And we are supposed to just trust a government that has betrayed us and isn't being held accountable essentially since 1963. If you look at this right here on my screen, it says it right here in the document. It used to be top secret. It's not now. But right here, there was non-compliance queries since 2012. That was under Barack Obama. And it's gone to the max to this day. And they are doing it right now, today, and they've done it to millions and millions of Americans. Under what guise, I don't know, because the FBI was so rogue and so ideologically aligned with Obama and Comey and you know, I guess Mueller before that. But we have no reason that we should be allowing the government of the United States to look into our personal computers, our personal emails, our transactions, or anything without us knowing about it. And don't forget, they also, I believe it was Judge Lambert or maybe a different judge, but Jack Smith also put a gag order on Google and on Twitter and on Meta to not tell people that they were handing over their information. Same thing with the bank. So I just don't know what we're dealing with here, that they all want the warrantless surveillance 702 to continue when it's been so abused and used against the people, which is why I also think the people of the United States of America really have to readdress the Patriot Act. Not only was the Patriot Act the most unconstitutional bill ever in America, as far as I'm concerned, probably a close second, one or two, to the Federal Reserve Act, but bottom line, Anna Paulina Luna and a handful of people actually put in legislation not too long ago to repeal the Patriot Act, because since 9/11, it has been used and turned against the people of this country as domestic terrorists, while they have opened the floodgates to foreign terrorists to come into our country and, frankly, take over large swaths of land in this country under the name of Islam. And we have cells all over the nation that they have allowed to come into this country unvetted. All the people that came in from Afghanistan, unvetted. All these people that came through the open border, unvetted. And at this point, what do we have the Patriot Act for? It's been a total fraud. It's been an upside-down total fraud used on the people. For over 2 decades, rogue actors in our U.S. intelligence agencies have used the Patriot Act to create the most sophisticated, unaccountable surveillance apparatus in the Western world. Anna Paulina Luna said, "My legislation will strip the deep state of these tools and protect every American's Fourth Amendment right against reasonable search and seizure." This is not an exaggeration. Andrew Napolitano called the Patriot Act directly and profoundly offensive to our Constitution. The Patriot Act is a progeny, he wrote, "are the most abominable, unconstitutional assaults on personal liberty since the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. If you do not know, the Patriot Act has been abused over and over and over while not doing its job of protecting the homeland from terrorists. And the whole thing was about that they would make sure that we fought the terrorist over there and not here. Then they promptly, the minute the auto pen got in, but certainly under Obama, opened up our borders to anyone who wanted to come and then stopped vetting anyone. Basically, lawmakers spent more time coming up with the bill, basically, than than making sure that there were guardrails and that the bill was actually going to follow the Constitution. In fact, they brazenly made sure that it would not. The only person who did not vote for the Patriot Act was Ron Paul, and he tells the story of how he said to everyone, like, we can't vote for this. This is totally unconstitutional. It's the end of liberty for the American citizens, the end of privacy. And he was told, well, we have to because of 9/11. If we don't sign something called the Patriot Act, then they will think that we are not protecting the country. Well, that is not true. And we do have to, I think the American people have to get together themselves and decide if they believe that the spy agencies that ran a coup against the people of the United States of America, a long conspiracy still ongoing since Obama started spying on everyone on the next level in 2012, forward, certainly after 2016 and the Fedsurrection. So it authorizes government agents to conduct sneak and peek searches in which law enforcement searches or even seizes an individual's property without informing them. It broke down privacy protection so federal agency could more readily share information. It allowed super secret, very corrupt FISA court to monitoring and unmasking American citizens' communications without them knowing. It gave the FBI the power to issue its own search warrants known as national security letters, which recipients were forbidden to reveal. And the most, I think the worst of it is the National Security Agency's vast worldwide surveillance operation revealed by NSA contractor Edward Snowden in 2013, to which he is still in asylum in Russia, though I think what he did was tell the American people how our government had turned on us and that we no longer had privacy or constitutional protections if they deemed so. And that is something we need to talk about big time, because the Patriot Act was written with a sunset clause requiring Congress to reauthorize the program every few years. Although the act expired in March 2020 without being reauthorized, federal law enforcement agencies retain most of the authority granted in the act. The surveillance infrastructure that the Patriot Act created exists in full to this day, and it was not supposed to. But as we've learned over history, things that come into our political realm as emergency measures actually never go away. And again, every single emergency measure that takes away some of our liberty is actually taking away the entire point of the constitutional republic and a country by the people, for the people. So Luna's bill is out there, and other people are joining her to get behind this. And I think we should all think about how should we have an assessment for the American people of how successful the Patriot Act has been. Because the Patriot Act has not stopped terrorist organizations from functioning on our grounds. It has not seized money from known terrorist organizations that are pumping division and hatred and Marxism and communism in America. It has not done anything about the Muslim Brotherhood or CARE's presence in the United States of America. And frankly, party leadership on both sides have played key roles in passing expansion of federal government surveillance over and over, including FISA and do we, the people, still believe in that we deserve privacy and liberty and freedom, or are we going to continue down this path of having a government that is against us and can spy on any single one of us at any time for any reason without a warrant? I think we really need to have to rein this in. I'd also like to remind you of another piece that came out. Now, the warrantless surveillance, FISA 702, again, 702 is American citizen. Basically, they have decided that the Fourth Amendment does not concern anyone anymore, but does it concern you? I'm going to read the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against any unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath and affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons and or things specifically to be seized. Okay, so what we know is that last April, The U.S. Senate passed FISA reauthorization as it's coming up right now. The bill is directly and specifically in violation of the Fourth Amendment. The Senate voted in 2024 to authorize warrantless federal government searches of every American citizen's private papers, effects, emails, electronic data, cell phones, contact lists, text messages, buying habits, purchases, banking records, social media posts, direct messages, private communications, every keystroke on any electronic device, all in a database. It is all subject to capture, review, surveillance, seizure, and anything else without following the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or anything else. And this is by people that we already know we can't trust. How can we trust a government that hasn't been held accountable since 1963? And everyone that's involved in every intelligence operation or every CIA operation or every regime change or color revolution, they then get promoted. All of the crimes of the CIA and the intelligence community and the military and everything, nobody's ever held accountable. So why should we, the people of the United States, trust them to continue down the path of illegal search and seizure and warrantless surveillance? But yet they're pushing for it. And like Radcliffe said there, he says Donald Trump was totally against it in 2024. How do you think they spied on all these people under that all came out horrified? Remember, it was everyone that was going to object to the 2020 election. So that would be Cruz, Hawley, Blackburn, all of them, Kash Patel, Nunes, all these people were spied on by Jack Smith's team under warrantless surveillance 702. So what do you think? They care about spying on any one of us? And again, the Patriot Act totally failed. We have terrorist cells all over this country we're being warned about. That's because they welcomed in CARE and Muslim Brotherhood and the Democrat, Socialist, Globalist, communists. This was on purpose. So I just want people to be very honest with themselves. Are we giving up still our freedom and liberty for security, as we have been told we should and have to, but that security hasn't seemed to work. So there are a lot of people out there, and I want to remind you, and this is Mike Lee, because he came out too, the egregious Fourth Amendment violations against U.S. citizens will increase dramatically if this bill is passed into law. Lee and Rand Paul have offered amendments to block DHS, FBI, DOJ, IRS, and ancillary intelligence, law enforcement, national parks, and government agencies from buying Americans' electronic NSA data from third parties and federal contractors. So that's been going on too. And the House and Senate bill does include provisions that would force the intelligence community to notify political leadership in Congress about 702 database searches involving lawmakers, but not you. The citizens are not allowed to know about these searches. So they put in last April that they, in fact, will never be searched on without knowing about it. Warrantless surveillance, secret surveillance that has been allowed. But they have protected Congress from not being searched. So
also they're monetizing that data.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary that, because a lot of them were targets of this exact thing.
And we're finding out more and more every day. Now we know that Jack Smith not only spied on thousands of American citizens through Arctic frost, which hasn't been held accountable, but it's way worse than that. 400 Republican or right-leaning NGOs and groups were also investigated. This goes back to Obama and Holder not being held accountable for the original Spygate, the IRS spying. Of course, that was Jack Smith, too, if you don't know that. This is a small group of people that believe that they are superior to any American citizen, and also that President Trump is not above them, that he is an existential threat, so they can do anything they want. That means including to us. Again, Aaron Day came out yesterday and said something I've been wondering about, very disturbing. Basically, Donald Trump said when he was running he was going to ban the CBDC, but I've been telling you that Larry Fink and the international banking cartel, the global public-private partnership, the banks that are all immune, all of these groups have been pushing forward with not just the CBDC on a global scale through the BIS and the World Bank and the IMF and all of them, but also tokenization of everything on the planet, including nature, water, and nature and everything else. They're going full steam ahead. So we don't really see that the CBDC is being banned. The CBDC is full track and trace surveillance. It is the easiest way to put us all on, as Larry Ellison said, best behavior at all times. It goes in tandem with the unconstitutional Patriot Act, warrantless surveillance, and this is actually the digital wallet that the World Economic Forum proposed during the Build Back Better Great Reset push and the pandemic. And then this also infrastructure was put in, biometrics and ledger technology in the first 30 executive orders that the auto pen presidency cabal that ran the Joe Biden administration put in day one to make sure that all the technology was in there for full track and trace surveillance, a digital wallet for the American citizens, which is completely unconstitutional and takes the Patriot Act and puts it on full steroids. So basically what we know now is that they passed the Genius Act, which requires every private stablecoin to do the exact same thing a central bank digital currency could do. And that is also in tandem with the JP Morgan Chase and the Larry Fink and BlackRock tokenization of all assets on planet Earth, nature, and everything else. This is called Technocracy 101, Technocracy 101. And it shouldn't be a surprise that all these Trilateral Commission people like Blinken and Sullivan and Rice and all of them are behind this, because this is a global operation that is being passed off as not being a CBDC in the United States, where in fact it looks like it is. 320 billion in stable coins now operate under the Bank Secrecy Act. That is FinCEN reporting, full KYC. Issuers must block, freeze, and reject transactions on command. Over there also, 184 billion custodied by Cantor Fitzgerald, that is Howard Lutnick, is now Trump's Commerce Secretary, and that's Tether, that's 184 billion. USD1, another one, 4.6 billion. Trump's family owns 60% of World Liberty Financial and takes 75% in revenue. A UAE royal family bought 49% days before inauguration. All three of these are backed by U.S. Treasuries. That means every stablecoin dollar funds government debt, while the government tracks, traces, and surveils every single transaction on a unified and already in place and built global public infrastructure ledger. Okay, it's not that they killed the CBDC. It looks more like they privatized it. But again, the American people are not being taught this. But the surveillance that they are putting in right now is no different than the World Economic Forum and international banking cartels and the Bank of International Settlement and World Bank's central bank digital currency full track and trace surveillance. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, you know, we have a lot of concerns about all of this digital currency, and you know, the fact that it's privatized, you know, it could have been a good thing, but you know, they
still playing.
You know, right, but and also, you know, it looks like the Trump, you know, family and organization is you know,
the overarching trend of
profiting pretty greatly off that. So, you know, that's not a particularly good feeling.
No, it's not. And I'd like to also play Dr. Warner, who's been warning about central bank digital currency is actually a global public infrastructure operation of the UN, World Economic Forum, that's Davos, and the International Banking Cartel. And it is for full technocracy, Agenda 2030, full track and trace surveillance of you, your family members, and everything you do for every minute of every day of our lives, and that includes that they will also be using technology, AI, algorithms to do this. Take a listen to Dr. Warner. Hello. Uh-oh. Okay, just hold a sec. You can take that down. I'll click to X. Okay, let's watch him here. Okie dokie. Okay, it's still, okay, here we go.
So the overarching trend of the 20th century was the concentration of power in the hands of fewer and fewer people. Lord Acton, quite wisely, he was really an observer of politics for many decades, concluded power corrupts. That's the reality. That's human nature. If you give people power and too much power, it will lead to bad results. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we have to stop the further spread of digital ID and the introduction of CBDCs. Already Europe is being deindustrialized, economically destroyed. We can't give these central planners that have delivered this yet more powers. Instead, we need to decentralize, break up the concentrated power, oppose digital ID. We are sovereign individuals. We don't need to prove our identity. If somebody wants to check identity, well, that's their problem. We need to oppose digital asset registers and tokenization of our assets and of nature. And we need, most of all, of course, to oppose CBDCs. A decentralized monetary system is the future. Many small local banks in a decentralized fashion implementing subsidiarity, that is proven to be very successful. That's how excuse me, that's how China became an economic superpower within one generation. They moved from one bank in the Soviet system, central planners loved it, to 5,000 banks with 30 loan offices in 35 branches. That's more than 5 million people checking millions and millions of small firm loan applications for productive business investment. It's easier to find people to govern themselves than people fit to govern others, because those who are currently governing us, they're not fit to do so. Thank you very much.
I agree. That's how I feel. So we're going to give all these people that have betrayed this country and not been held accountable more power. We're going to extend their ability to do that. And it is really, at this point, very obvious that those that are in government right now don't care about the consent of the governed. They don't care about citizens voting. They couldn't care less. They didn't care about our open border. They don't care about all the money flying out of our pockets. And we have to be very cognizant. I also want to play this for you. So my friend over there, he's amazing at the Sociable. He does the heavy lifting of listening to things, but there was just an event on the world stage, as I'm telling you. The great resetters, Davos, the international banking cartel are the ones right now on planet Earth winning. They are winning. They are going full steam ahead to Agenda 2030 while they're keeping funding the entire world of endless wars and division and all the money coming into our country to divide and conquer the American people by class, race, religion, everything else. All of that's working out while these people that want technocracy and Agenda 2030 are still meeting and going forward. So they had a world forum on the future of democracy, tech, AI, and humankind. Of course, the usual suspects show up. It's called Approaching Singularity, Our Brains Interfacing with Superintelligence at the World Forum 2026. Not to be confused with the World Economic Forum. The World Forum is the future of democracy, AI, tech, and humankind by people that decided that they are in charge of such a thing. What we do know is that they are talking about neural rights. This is the slippery slope for the Patriot Act, for warrantless surveillance, for CBDCs, for all of that. The slippery slope is that the goal is a brain interface. If you are not aware of that and you think that that sounds crazy, I will let them tell you yourself. Here you go.
We're still at that point where we're defining all, so there's not a right or wrong answer. How I see it pragmatically is singularity is singular and is towards a superintelligence. But when we're forced to define what it means to be humans, that's not singular, is it? It's multiplicity, because there's so many dimensions of consciousness of the gentleman sitting in front of me, from you, from everyone else. So when you define that and you find out it's individual versus a generative AI model, then we're far away from what the singularity is. I think there would be a new term, call it the matrix, I don't care. But it is singular. We are multifaceted human beings. So consciousness is very relevant in this topic. Why? Because it defines who you are. And once you define who you are, neural rights is the governance of identity. And whoever governs identity governs society.
Okay, so let me break that down for you. Remember, Peter Thiel's over there. A lot of these people are the Bilderberg people, the World Economic Forum, strategic planners for global governance. Basically, what he's saying there is that neural rights, singularity is when the computers, like Klaus Schwab explained it, when computers and humans merge, and they're one and the same. And then what they're talking about here is neural rights. This is all very scary stuff. But the more that we allow them to track, trace, and surveil us, and then the more they implement AI into this, and that guy just said they're going to have to come up with a new term beyond singularity called the matrix. I don't care, but it is singular. So essentially, it seems to me what he is saying is that in this forum, they said, where do our human rights begin and end? Where do the AI rights begin and end? And frankly, it goes on in this document, but it's Tim Hinchliff's work on covering this, that they better understand as humans what consciousness is, because that not only defines who we are, but what the boundaries, conditions are between humans and AI. Where do human rights begin and end, and where do AI's rights begin and end? Very serious, scary stuff.
They also mentioned, who controls, what was, he said that who controls, like consciousness in a way, right? The definition of consciousness controls society.
Right.
So basically they're saying that that if they can, blur the distinction between humanity and AI, and then they can put rules around AI, it kind of starts to extend into humanity, and then they control humanity in a way through their control of AIs. That's what it kind of sounded like.
But they're basically saying once once you put the chip in your head, like Elon wants to do, and all these people want to do, once they can read your thoughts and your brain and all the stuff that they're talking about at this event, then human rights, they have to figure out how human rights and AI go together and find a new term for human rights.
And the matrix.
Right. And he said matrix for real. I also want to remind you, a lot of people are going to be talking about tokenization. So I want to remind you that they want to tokenize now. They want to do exactly the fraud that they did with carbon. And, Al Gore's behind, and the World Economic Forum, the carbon track and trace surveillance that's part of the digital wallet that, of course, would be on the same blockchain with your ID and your central bank digital currency. We've talked about it many times. But they are talking about now figuring out how to tokenize water on planet Earth. Of course, none of this is in God's interest. They don't even these people don't believe in God, as far as I'm concerned. They certainly don't believe that our rights come from God. Our inalienable rights are from God, not from man, not from government. They believe it's from them. And again, this is the World Forum.
Also, they're trying to assume the whole natural world, and if people don't
control it and tokenize it into.
So the carbon credit thing is an absolute joke. Okay, so basically what they do is big polluters, they're supposed to pay a tax because they're putting out a lot of carbon. It's awesome. And then you can trade. And they trade it. And so, but if you if you own a forest, right, and you're carbon negative, you get credits for that, and they buy and sell them. So basically, it just puts the ability of big companies to basically do whatever they want, and they can leverage. Basically, they're using financial engineering to basically rape and pillage the whole natural environment and use that as a lever against the people, because they're saying everything is scarce. So it's a whole scarcity mindset. It's very, very dangerous.
We have to remember that not only is it very dangerous, but there have been people speaking out about it. And it's really important that we, the people of the United States, decide if we still have a Constitution, a Bill of Rights, a Declaration of Independence, sovereignty, not just of our nation, but personally. Is there any kind of constitution in cyberspace where Palantir and Elon Musk and Oracle and all them are building the Panopticon? We know the global public infrastructure is already built. Microsoft is a partner. Oracle's a partner. Google, I guess that's Alphabet's a partner. All of them. Take a listen to our friend Reggie Littlejohn warning about all of this. Once again, I think it's important that we understand this is real, and the American people have to decide what kind of future we want, because we will not be able to opt out once we are in it. Take a listen.
And in this article, the World Economic Forum holds up as a positive example the Estonian digital identity approach. And if any place does have what amounts to a mandatory digital ID, it's Estonia. And I would note that during COVID, if an adult in Estonia refused vaccination or testing, they would be shut out and denied access to restaurants, entertainment venues, gyms, conferences, and public meeting places. So this shows the true intent of the digital IDs. And when combined with central bank digital currencies, the control grid is complete because they can control you through every aspect of your life. So we're talking about programmable money, meaning that if they can say, if you can spend your money, when you can spend your money, like let's say there's another pandemic, and let's say that you are deciding that you're not going to be vaccinated or you're not going to get, the 5th booster or what have you. They could say, okay, you need to be quarantined in your own home, so they can program your money so that it does not work outside of your home. So you can't get into the car and buy gas. You can't do anything outside, or they could say you have to, if they want to discourage saving, they could say you have to spend it by a certain date. They could say you can only, if you've already flown someplace and you've used up your carbon credit, they can stop you from buying another flight that year. I mean, the list goes on. It's, as much as you can imagine is what they can do with programmable money.
Yeah, so keep that in mind, the programmable money. We have somebody here. Thank God we got Jamie today to come back. Jamie's our friend from Estate Planning, Inc. We're going to bring him in right now because what we are watching is now it looks like they're going towards a central bank digital currency that's privatized. Not everyone wants to partake in that. At the same time, we have the gold and silver situation. We have the stock market. We have the wars. So Jamie has solutions. We wanted to bring him in for you guys to hear about what Jamie does, what he's done for us, and what he can do for you. Thank you for joining me, Jamie.
Hey, Mel, how are you? Hello, Rob.
I'm good.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi. So your thoughts on watching the markets and the gold and the silver and everything that's happening? Every day, I'm so grateful for the service that you offer to me and my audience.
Yeah,
so let us know what you're thinking.
It's been a blessing. What I'm thinking is I've been watching the market. Obviously, everybody has. I mean, it's down almost 500 points today. For the month, it's down 4,000 points. I mean, that's 8% down in 1 month. We just don't know what's going on with it. It's just crazy. I mean, and the NASDAQ composite is also down a ton. With this in mind, what we focus on is retirement dollars for our clients and for our people. And we've been doing it for 33 years. And we have a vehicle that will provide, your audience with an opportunity to take their 401k or their IRA and put it into a situation where they only get upside potential with no downside risk. It's called an index annuity and is with an insurance company, and they make a deposit. They get a bonus on their initial deposit, but more importantly, they participate in the S&P 500 index gains each and every month, but none of the losses. There's a 0% factor in of the downside. So when you take into consideration, if the market were to go down, we lose nothing. There's a 0% floor limit on it. So once interest is credited to the account, it's there forever. You don't lose it. The worst case scenario in a market like this, if the whole thing went south and tumbled, our annuity holders simply don't make any interest that particular quarter, but they didn't lose 10 cents.
I know that's the best part of it because we don't know what's going on.
Well, plus the fact, 60, 70-year-old people, 80-year-old, I mean, we don't have time to watch it crash and then have to get back to square one before we start making money again on our retirement dollars. We handle 401ks, IRAs, pension plans, CDs. We can roll that into our annuity. All the income that is provided in it is available to you. You can get a guaranteed lifetime income. You can take penalty-free withdrawals each year. It's just prudent. I mean, why would you want to stick around and see what, it's down enough right now.
I know. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a lot longer than we thought. And I just want everyone to have peace of mind and protect themselves however they can. And to me, this is a no-brainer. But go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say, the globalists, there's so much chaos in the world, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And, we're all dealing with this every day in our daily lives. And to take a little that de-risk, some of you, what you've accumulated over your lifetime is really gives you a great deal of comfort. So, what we're saying is that if it's right for you, you may have, accumulated, some money, over time, and you want to look at a way to secure that away from the volatility of,
Protect
any
it.
asset class.
Yeah.
Protect it and still make a modest return.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And we also know that, just this morning I read the U.S. Postal Service says that they're going to be completely bankrupt in 12 months. Of course, we've thrown so much money in there. But also, it is estimated by 2029 because we don't have nearly as many people paying in. There aren't as many people being born, as we know. There's a whole bunch of problems. Right. So, everyone always thought, they pay in, which it's totally a scam anyway, because you pay in your whole life and then you can't get enough when it pays out to live. But people have to realize that they are openly saying that they don't know what's going to happen to Social Security. So the thing I love the most about what you do and how you set it up there at estate planning is that you can decide that you want income for life and you can set that up on the back end and you will still have that security of income for life, but it will actually be through the annuity, not through the Social Security Administration, which might not even be there anymore, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely.
Pitch there, buddy.
Yeah, no, we're big friends.
Excited about
No, we're big.
this.
Anytime you can take risk
He's on the edge with the money and the gold and silver and everything else. And I just keep saying, thank God Jamie has an opportunity and an option for people out there that can keep you out of the panic cycle, because it's not going to stop anytime soon. I don't think at all.
I agree. It's just, and I have clients that I talk to that are with me that had no idea what positions they're in. They had no idea what they had. And they go, oh my heavens, I'm down X amount of dollars, and you don't have to be. When you're in the stock market, when the stock market's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it can get real bad. And I don't think people, my advice to people is take a look and see where your assets are, see where your retirement dollars are, and are they protected? Are they, in a situation where you're not going to lose?
Right.
And if not, get a hold of us, and I will handle your clients personally, as we always do. We charge no commission or fees to do this for the MEL clientele.
Thank you so much.
And it just makes a lot of sense. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Oh, me too right now. And honestly, we got months and months. They're not there is a higher war going on. I have my book coming out soon about the international architecture that was built above all nations, supranational banking architecture, which right now is in a battle with sovereign nations versus global governance that people can't see, but it's happening. We also have, they weren't going to do a CBDC, but now it looks like there's going to be a CBDC, but it's going to be private. We also have the situation where a lot of people have realized that their money is in pension funds that are controlled by BlackRock, who are all in on Agenda 2030 and the end of nation states, full surveillance technocracy. And they don't want their money to be going to where BlackRock is sending it, because all they're doing is paying for the end of the nation. So people have to take control right now of their money, their future, their security, their safety. And I think Estate Planning Inc. is the first stop for anyone that doesn't know what to do, because Jamie knows about all financial options and all that stuff, but 30 years of experience, he's helped so many people. And you got to be your own hero, and that means getting your own answers, not trusting the bank or the bankers or, whoever's investing your money.
Correct.
Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Go to good people that want to help you and will find you a way to keep yourself stable, centered, and sane in whatever happens upcoming. Got any last words, Jamie? Thank you so much. Rob, you can tell everyone where to go.
Yeah, folks, go to the partners page, themelkshow.com. Go to our partners page, and you'll find the Estate Planning Inc. lion head right there. You just click on it, and there's a little form to fill out. And Jamie will get to you directly. Yep. You can also call him directly if you want, 954-462-4422, 954-462-4422, or go to the Mel K Show Partners page, click on Estate Planning Inc. Take a little risk out of your portfolio. It does help support the show, but most importantly, it helps you guys sleep a little better at night.
Absolutely.
And it's a great option.
Yeah, especially if you're 60 or over, like this kid. It really, really can. You can't have another crash. I don't know what's going on. There's also a big fight between Jerome Powell and the Trump administration, and who knows where that's going. All I know, it's very clear right now that the people that are running our country are not concerned with we the people. They have DHS shut down. They have all this nonsense going on. There's war and fighting amongst themselves. Don't depend on DC. Don't depend on the banks. Depend on yourself, your heart, and your gut, and good people like Jamie. So any last words, Jamie, before I let you go?
We are here to serve, Mel. We'll take good care of your
Thank you,
clients
sir.
as we always do. And if you fill out that little form on the page, it's very simple. Just your name, your telephone number, your email, and what I can help you with. And we'll take a look and see what you have and see if we can be of asset to you.
Great. So just make a call or go on the partners page, fill it out. Get some answers, find other options. These options aren't always out there for you to see, but we're bringing them to you because we care about you and we care about your future and your family and this country. And that means all of us have to do what we need to do to protect ourselves. Thank you so much, Jamie, for being a partner of the Mel K Show. And again, that's Estate Planning Inc. Jamie is there waiting to hear from you now. 954-462-4422. Tell him Mel K sent you.
Tell him Mel K sent me. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jamie.
You too. Thanks, Jamie, so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Speaking of chaos on planet Earth, if you do not know, there has been a development that isn't getting much attention because we don't really have news, and we have a lot of people out there that are influencing people to influence each other and don't really pay attention to a big development. So Saudi Arabia has united the Arab nations that have been on the other side of fire from Iran, and they have come out. So the government of Saudi Arabia held a large meeting in Riyadh with representatives of other victims of Iranian bombings in the past month, issuing a joint statement condemning Tehran for widespread drone and missile attacks on civilian sites in dozens of countries. So essentially, basically, they came out and they said that Iran has been at war with Israel and the United States since February 28th, when President Donald Trump announced Operation Epic Fury to eliminate Iran's ability to pose a threat to its neighbors. Iran is the world's most prolific state sponsor of terrorism, funding the IRGC as well as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthi gangs in Yemen, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and several Iraqi Shiite militias. Among them, on the first day of Operation Epic Fury, Trump announced that an airstrike had eliminated the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. America and Israel have eliminated dozens of senior leaders in the region, but in the meantime, the countries in the region are angry that they are being hit. So what we have right now is that Saudi Arabia got together everyone, the leaders of, it looks like, basically Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Pakistan, Qatar, Syria, Turkey, Egypt, Azerbaijan, and Bahrain. You can see right here, they were all together discussing what is going on just yesterday. And they have come out with statements, all of them separately, saying that they support what essentially Donald Trump is doing and that they will fight back and defend their lands. Take a listen for yourself, because you're probably not going to hear it elsewhere. Here you go.
I don't know how they claim to be fighting for Islamic causes while attacking Islamic countries. They are not attacking a single nation. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Lebanon, Jordan, Azerbaijan, Turkey. All these countries are Islamic countries, yet Iran attacks them. And even before this war, what was Iran's contribution in the issues related to the Islamic world? They support the Houthi militia in Yemen. They supported the popular militia in Iraq, who are, and now they are attacking Iraq. They are attacking Iraq territories. Hezbollah in Lebanon, who didn't suffice by hijacking the political decision in Lebanon, but rather was an effective arm to perform sabotaging actions in the region and in Saudi Arabia. And the biggest example is Iran and Hezbollah's role in Syria. So where is such support or so-called support in the Muslim world when they commit such crimes and supporting the former Syrian regime? How do they support the Islamic world when they assassinate politicians in Lebanon? How do they support the Muslim world's issues and causes when they empower the popular mobilization forces in Iraq?
Okay, so that is going on. So the backlash from Iran hitting all of the Muslim countries is not going the way that they would hope, and you will not likely hear about it. Media and lawmakers are downplaying the threat from the Iranian regime. You heard Mark Warner and the other guy asking about their nuclear weapons. That's not the only thing they do. They are hitting their own neighbors because those neighbors have U.S. military or ties to our country, so they consider their own neighbors Islamic, what do they call them, infidels. If any, all the countries they are saying that have anything to do with the United States are infidels, and they're hitting them all, and it's really very insane, and showing you how dangerous I believe the Iranian regime is, and how much they have likely put themselves in a position where they are going to be surrounded by that. But I do want to play for you, since most people don't understand that the Muslim Brotherhood has been at the tip of the spear of all of this for decades. Since 1991, we've known about it. We all watched, or I did, the Holy Land Foundation, where they let CARE off as an unindicted co-conspirator. Well, now the head of the Muslim Brotherhood in the UK put out an interview where he's actually explaining exactly what they are doing. So maybe you should take a listen and hear it from him. This is the head of the Muslim Brotherhood in the UK.
What is our collective strategy? What is our vision for the world? Projects for world reform. At least that is what da'wah means. Now we need to think strategically to dominate the entire world. And we lay things in a strategic way and according to our beliefs.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored this ummah with a responsibility to carry the message of Islam to the whole world.
We are in a transformative phase, and that what is to come is going to be totally different from what we have left behind. Now, how long that transformative phase is, only Allah knows. What is our collective strategy?
So only Allah knows, but they would like to spread throughout the world Sharia is essentially what they're saying, which of course, after all of this, NATO Secretary General came back and said that he will be working with Starmer and everyone else in the EU and NATO to make sure that their oil and gas is getting through the Strait of Hormuz. So basically, Mark Rutte has come out and said that they have to do what they have to do. And he said, I've been in contact with many of our allies. The strait has to open. Allies are discussing how to do that. What is the best way to do it? They are working towards finding a solution. So the pushback has turned around pretty quickly. At the same time, we do know that there is advanced information coming out about the 2020 election and the Chinese government's participation and putting in the fake ballots. I think it's important for us to remember a lot of people are very frustrated in the fact that the 2020 election has not been dealt with yet. But John Solomon was on with Eric Bolling just recently. Let's take a listen to what he's saying. They know now.
Now, here's what we know that may be most concerning. So these penetrations into the voter databases, the accessing of the voter databases, registration databases in America, was detected in early 2020, so February through about June. In July, the Customs Border Protection Agency, Customs Border Protection intercepted a package of tens of thousands of fake driver's licenses. The FBI had a mole inside the Chinese government who said those licenses were sent here to create fake ballots so that more ballots could be cast for Joe Biden in the battleground states and potentially help Joe Biden defeat Donald Trump in the 2020 election. So there is evidence that after the penetrations occurred, China went to active measures, meaning sending driver's licenses in with the hope that they would get ballots during the pandemic, absentee ballots, and be able to vote on behalf of identities that either weren't in the states anymore or were fake identities.
John, may I ask this just for clarity? So each state holds this data of their own citizens, right? Their own voter rolls. Did they hack all of them, some of them, many of them? What did they get?
We don't know. We don't know because the number of states were redacted and the identity of the states were redacted, and the actual method upon which they accessed each state is redacted. We're asking the CIA Director John Ratcliffe and the Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard to declassify and release the underlying data. But what we do know is it was multiple states data that was obtained.
And someone knows, so each state knows how they were hacked, right? But they don't. I
don't think the states even know that they've been penetrated. Wow. That is a very scary thing. We can find no evidence, and we've asked the question, but no one can answer whether any state's been notified. You have senators right now.
It begs the question, John. We were talking about Venezuela getting involved, maybe the voting machine hacking. Is it possible China was using Venezuela's technology? And not that the Chinese don't have it.
No evidence yet. Yeah, no evidence of that yet.
Okay,
it looks like, and think about this, if they had...
So this is enough. Okay, so that is something that's happening. I also would like to...
Now, that was before they came out and said it was the most secure election in the...
That was yesterday. Yes, they knew. Well, that's so it was created to basically, be the I think the cheating agency. But Chris Krebs still hasn't been held accountable. But take a listen. As you know, and many people forget, Devin Nunes is Donald Trump's emissary for intelligence. These are the emissaries that he picked are new people because the deep state, steady state, admittedly, the lawfare crew, Brookings and Georgetown Law, they're all against them. So he can only trust certain people, and one of those is Devin Nunes, and he surfaced yesterday on Real America's Voice. So take a listen to him.
Let me try to unpack this. What I would first say is we ran a decade-long investigation in the Congress into China. And so this new bombshell that you just dropped is very concerning to me, and it should be to the Congress even today, that this information likely was around in 2019, probably in 2020. I don't know. We're going to have to unpack this and figure out why this didn't get to the Congress and why this didn't get out to the American public. Clearly, this is a scandal that's brewing, and I'm sure you're going to continue to track it. I should also say, you mentioned Director Ratcliffe. As you know, I chair the President's Intelligence Board. We've been working directly with the CIA to depoliticize all of these agencies. The President Trump gave us clear direction that he wants the politicization taken out of these intelligence products. And it's been, a slow slog. We've been working to get this information declassified. We've been working with the different agencies to make sure that there's transparency. And I do commend the CIA under Director Ratcliffe's leadership for retracting those 19 phony reports. And I actually think there's probably many more that are there, but I think this is just the start of Director Ratcliffe is trying to clean up the CIA. Obviously, we're here to help. We're here to help all of the agencies as chair of the President's Intelligence Board, and we'll continue to do that. This, just the kind of the final point on China and their capabilities here, I think we should all be very concerned that China is continuing to leapfrog. And if you don't have if you want to call it the truth, transparency, real intelligence agencies getting the information to the policy makers and the decision makers, it's a major problem. So if you have a bunch of it doesn't matter how great you are at gathering intelligence. And I happen to think that our military and intelligence in the United States are very good still. But it doesn't do any good if that information never makes it to the people that actually have to make a decision. And just to kind of go back to what I was saying, we ran this China investigation for a decade, and this is clearly information that should have come to us immediately back back when I was in Congress. So now, the President's Intelligence Board, we're working with anyone and everyone that wants to have transparency and wants to have accountability.
Okay, so the other thing, I'm ready.
I don't know. I just wanted to. I wanted to comment on this. So, what's more dangerous? A known enemy that is going to be attacking critical infrastructure and all kinds of other things that they may do, or your internal, call it police or intelligence, or the folks that are supposed to be protecting that, not doing that at all with the information, either hiding it or participating. To me, it's more dangerous when you have, the cooks in the kitchen who are allowing the poison to be served for dinner.
And also, this brings up questions about, I don't know how Mark Milley hasn't already been held accountable, at least investigated, from his admitted phone call with the Chinese counterpart, where he told him while Trump was president that he would call him before anything happened if, God forbid, Trump wanted to attack China, which he wouldn't. But there was a very strange relationship between Mark Milley and China that was going on behind Donald Trump's back. And I wonder if this is connected. And the last thing I'm going to leave you on today is, while they weren't sharing that information, it turns out a new document has been released. I think everyone should read it. It is absolutely disgusting what was going on during the auto pen. It looks like nobody's going to be held accountable, but I do want you to know the CIA is a cesspool. I don't know how they could clean it up, particularly, it was already a nightmare and never worked for American people, I don't think at all. But John Brennan made it just totally despicable. I mean, Ratcliffe can try to fix it, but Bill Barr, what's his name, Mike Pompeo, obviously, John Brennan, Gina Haspel, they were all involved in the overthrow of the duly elected president of the United States. I've shown you they are all involved in a group called Steady State. Many of them are involved in things like pushing for World War III, Atlantic Council, all that. But worst of all, just jump to my screen for 1 minute and then I'll let you go. So yesterday, America First Legal put out a new document. It's newly declassified. It's a CIA document from the Biden administration, I believe from 2021, identifying motherhood and homemaking as indicators of white, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists. So while they were letting terrorists and Chinese men of military age and unvetted Afghans into our country and telling us that white people were the problem, and they were lying about FBI stats and everything else, they were preparing a CIA document. Here it is right here. It's an intelligent assessment. It came out in 2021 under the auto pen, and this would, of course, be Lisa Monaco, what's his name, Merrick Garland, Chris Wray, and Burns, the good friend, CIA head Burns, who was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He should have been worrying more about the women Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, so let's put it on Burns. But here you go. Women advancing white, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremist radicalization and recruitment. Some of it's redacted there, but if you take a look, I mean, it essentially says that white women agency with critical intelligence responsibility of spending its resources targeting women promoting motherhood. You can see right here the Trump administration retracted this, but essentially the CIA put this out October 6, 2021. Women advancing white, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremist radicalization and recruitment. White women have proven to be proficient at migrating fringe extremist narratives into mainstream discourse and drawing other women into the movement. They basically say that this is mothers, people that were pressing women in the, I guess it's Moms for America and those kind of things, women that are for traditional values, that advocate for other things that I guess they find problems. The nuclear family. Look, it says right here, promoting traditional motherhood and homemaking as women's most important responsibilities, apparently to Biden's CIA, was a threat to this country. Abusive comments highlight the limitations and pitfalls that women face in the movement, might be successful in dissuading women from joining. This is the white, some acronym, view of traditional motherhood was a threat. It goes on to motherhood and homemaking may be added to the list of other everyday behaviors that made everyday Americans radicalization suspects, essentially, under that. It says it right here in the document. Motherhood and homemaking as women's most important responsibilities was a threat. I don't know a threat to who. I just wanted you to know what the people that aren't going to be held accountable, it appears, in the Biden White House, in the Biden intelligence community, were assessing as threats. This goes along with the Catholic churches, and this goes along with people that were against abortion and all of that. But now they want us to allow warrantless surveillance 702 when they have right here, the Biden administration asked FBI, CIA, DHS, the State Department to study how disinformation relates to the domestic terrorism threat when it comes to women that are pushing nuclear family and traditional female roles. So keep that in mind when you start hearing that we need warrantless surveillance 702, because it looks like from this document, they were spying on women that were going around the country promoting motherhood and traditional roles, gender roles, and fighting against sex and LGBTQ books in schools. This also goes along the lines with them going after and investigating many parents that showed up at school boards. A lot of that was 702 warrantless surveillance, friends. So I'll leave you on that. But what I want to say is start thinking about who really does decide if we, the people of the United States, still have a Fourth Amendment, and is the Patriot Act a fraud that was perpetrated on we, the people, to turn this against us, mothers, homemakers, Christian nationalists, white supremacists, all of that. It seems like it's an operation that isn't really based in reality, and yet they've gone to great lengths. The CIA, State Department under Biden, FBI, DOJ, all in on calling traditional motherhood and mother groups and PTA meetings and parents showing up against what was going on in the schools as a problem. Very end here. So I just want to also remind you that this is the woman that is running our schools. She is, I think, the second most dangerous person in America right now for our children. She has lost her gazoo. Take a listen. This is Randy Weingarten.
Even with a big organizing effort, the legislature rammed through a proposal by Governor DeSantis designed to decimate our Florida locals and their contracts. It effectively forces annual union elections where you have to turn out over 50% of your entire bargaining unit. Sometimes we lose.
Well, look, they've totally failed. Their priorities are all upside down. She's one of the worst that pushed it. And I saw this video I want you to see of what, it's probably propaganda, but this is how I think kindergarten should look in America. But this is actually a video of what kindergarten looks like in China. And that woman should go work in China because she is the worst of the worst. The teachers' unions are all in on the communist revolution, Marxist revolution. They go speak at the Democrat Socialists of America. They're all in with CARE. And I'll leave you right now on this video of this is a children's kindergarten in China. I would really like to say that it was a children's kindergarten in America, but it's not. Take a look.
There is a kindergarten in China, and the reason for it will surprise you. In China, children as young as 3 and 4 years old perform tasks we would normally only expect from adults. They wash clothes, cook, and clean. Each child has their own small outdoor stove, perfectly sized for them, where they prepare their daily meals. After that, they line up to wash their dishes and then move on to making baskets, knitting scarves, or even sewing clothes on child-friendly sewing machines. They squeeze fresh fruit from start to finish, practice clay modeling, draw, create decorations, and solve puzzles. The girls can even try out the hairdressing area, giving them an advantage as future stylists. This hands-on approach keeps the children excited to return every day, eager to see what they will do next. In China, they believe that educating is not just teaching letters, but teaching how to live. Do you think this type of education could be adopted in your country, or would it be too harsh for children? If you're not following, you'll probably never see us again. But if you are...
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not, but I certainly would love to see our children go back to learning things that will actually help them have better lives.
I remember home ec. That was pretty fun.
I played a clarinet. I had a home ec. I had gym, music, art. They got rid of all of
Wood
it.
shop, metal shop. It was all great.
Clinic too in my high school. So all I'm saying is keep being positive, keep being the change you want to see, and protect yourself, protect your family. Do get in touch with Jamie at Estate Planning Inc. I can't tell you how much it will give you peace of mind, and he's an awesome guy and has great solutions for you, especially if you're older and don't believe you're going to go out there and make your fortune again. God forbid something happens. Protect yourself, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Make sure you tune in to Mel K in the mornings at 12 Eastern every single day. We are doing a daily news show that'll keep you up to date with the things you're not getting anywhere else. The Mel K in the morning show is your place to get morning news daily.
Whispers of freedom loud in the night. Anonymous fighters ready to ignite. They hack the code, crack the chains. Endless courage runs through their veins. Dancing in the digital light they go. For justice and truth their actions flow. Riding on the waves of bytes and bits. Anonymous Americans never quit. With every click they defy the lies. Fighting for freedom under moonlit skies.